They lived in perfection. I mean, just imagine it for a second.
Yeah.
No sickness, no death, no shadow of shame. Just them, God, and this garden, a garden that felt like it touched eternity.
Pure harmony.
Exactly. But then, like, in one moment, just one choice, everything changed. The world shifted forever. And this isn't just some old story people tell.
No, not at all.
Our source for today's deep dive, this really fascinating text called Adam and Eve, Eden Lost, Redemption Found, it frames it as something much bigger. It calls it the first love story. It's the first betrayal, the first promise, and the first glimpse of God's rescue plan.
That's quite a statement.
It really is. So today we're doing a deep dive into this foundational story, Adam and Eve. And our mission for you, listening in, is to kind of go beyond maybe the Sunday school version you know.
Yeah, get past the surface level.
Right. We want to explore the surprising bits, the details you might not have heard, and really look at why it still matters. We'll journey from paradise through that huge choice, the fallout.
Which was immediate and dramatic.
Totally. And then uncover this unexpected glimmer of hope that shows up right in the middle of it all.
And what's fascinating here, and the source really pushes this, is how a story, this old, ancient, still echoes so powerfully today in our lives.
It's kind of amazing.
It really is. This Adam and Eve narrative, it stays compelling, not just as like a religious text, but because it taps right into these core human things we all experience.
Like what specifically?
Well, innocence, temptation that's subtle, the weight of making choices, the consequences that ripple out, and that deep, deep search we all have for meaning, or maybe even for redemption. And understanding this story, as we'll get into, it gives you insights into so many cultural ideas, philosophical arguments, even, your own personal psychology sometimes can spark those aha moments.
I like those.
Me too. Moments where you realize why concepts like shame or responsibility or hope or just that desire to connect, why they're so ingrained in how we think and act. So this brings up a really important question for you listening to kind of keep in mind as we talk.
Okay.
What does this ancient story really tell us about ourselves, about our choices, and about our capacity for messing things up, but also for finding hope, even when things seem broken?
Okay, let's start right at the beginning then. Let's immerse ourselves in Eden, this world the source describes as just perfect, utterly without imperfection.
Yeah, the description is vivid.
It says, the Lord God planted a garden in Eden, and then there he placed the man he had formed. It sounds so deliberate, so intentional.
Purpose built.
Exactly. This wasn't just some random nice spot. It was designed, crafted by God.
Yeah.
So what does that imply? The fact that it was specifically planted by God. What does that tell us about the garden itself and maybe the state intended for humanity there?
That detail planted by God is absolutely central. It's not just like a poetic detail. It means everything in that place was infused with divine purpose, with perfection. It implies this complete inherent harmony. Everything worked perfectly, aligned with its creator's intent. No flaws, no discord. It wasn't just about nice weather and plenty of food. It was a state of being.
A state of being. How so?
Well, it suggests that the initial human existence was meant to be one of total peace, effortless provision, and just being perfectly in sync with God's will. No struggle, no lack, no need unmet. It was a perfectly balanced ecosystem, physically and spiritually.
Wow.
Yeah, and it really reflects the nature of its architect, This perfect initial state is crucial because it sets up the stark contrast for what comes later. It shows just how massive the shift was.
And inside this perfect place, the source paints this picture of incredible sensory richness, doesn't it? It says, every color was brighter, every sound was music.
Yeah, imagine that.
Seriously.
Right.
What would life actually be like in a world like that, where your senses are just pure, unmoored experience? How different is that from our world now, which feels so full of noise and, visual clutter?
It's almost impossible to fully wrap our heads around, isn't it? If every color was brighter and every sound was music, you're talking about a level of clarity, purity, vibrancy. It's beyond just nice.
Right. No static.
Exactly. No dullness, no jarring noise, no sensory overload like we experience constantly. Just this effortless symphony of beauty and order. Every single perception would be perfectly tuned, perfectly enriching.
So how would that affect Adam and Eve?
Well, you have to imagine their minds, their spirits, would be in this state of unparalleled calm and focus.
Yeah.
No distractions pulling at them, no need to filter things out. Every interaction with the world would be immediate, pure, joyful.
It sounds peaceful.
Incredibly peaceful. Compared to our modern world with the constant information overload, our fragmented attention spans, maybe even being desensitized to beauty, Eden sounds like a perpetual state of wonder.
Yeah.
Your senses are just open, delighted, experiencing reality purely. And that kind of sensory harmony, it would absolutely foster this deep internal peace. And crucially, an unhindered connection with their surroundings and with God.
And that connection with God, within this perfect setting, the source says it was unique, deeply intimate. It tells us Adam walked with God in the cool of the day.
Such a simple phrase, but so loaded.
Right. So what does that phrase, walking with God, really signify about their original relationship? What does it suggest about humanity's starting point with the divine?
It signifies something incredibly profound. It's not just about being nearby, It implies this sustained, unhindered, deeply personal companionship.
Like friends.
Even deeper, perhaps. Communication was immediate, transparent, totally without fear or holding back. An unparalleled intimacy, direct communion, no barriers, no need for middlemen, no veil.
Wow.
It suggests their will was just naturally aligned with the divine will. No internal conflict, no hidden agendas, no shame, nothing to hide. It wasn't just a physical walk, it was this state of perfect relational connection.
That feels so alien to our experience now.
Absolutely. Our world is often defined by fractured relationships, self-consciousness, a sense of distance. Eden, in this telling, wasn't just a perfect place, it was a state of perfect relationship. Continuous, open, joyful fellowship. That relationship was the core of their existence.
Okay. And then there's Eve. The source describes her creation as the answer to his loneliness. And it uses that incredibly intimate phrase, bone of his bone, flesh of his flesh.
Yeah, that's powerful language.
It's not just descriptive, right? It
Yeah.
feels like it signifies this profound unity, a shared essence. How does that language establish Eve as Adam's perfect complement? What does it say about the ideal of partnership here?
You're right, it's way beyond just biology. Bone of his bone, flesh of his flesh. It's his poetic declaration of fundamental unity, deep identification.
So not just a helper, but part of him.
Exactly. She's presented as his intrinsic other half, mirroring him, completing him, sharing his very substance, his nature. It sets up partnership as this incredibly deep, inherent connection, meant to be inseparable, perfectly harmonious.
Effortless, maybe?
In that state of perfection, yes, it implies it would have been. No friction, no misunderstandings, no self-interest getting in the way. Their lives just intertwined seamlessly, reflecting each other, enhancing each other, all in sync with the divine design.
It sets a really high bar for partnership.
It absolutely does. It suggests this profound spiritual and emotional resonance alongside the physical. It underlines that Eden's perfection wasn't just the environment or the God relationship, but also the core human relationship, a union of shared being and purpose.
So we have this picture. Perfect environment, vibrant senses, intimate relationships with each other, with God, abundance everywhere, and yet there's one contrast, one single limit.
The forbidden tree.
The source says they had everything except one forbidden tree.
This feels like a crucial point. Why? Why put any prohibition in a perfect garden? What does that one restriction symbolize when they had so much freedom?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And the source frames it not as like a punishment waiting to happen, but as something symbolic and crucial.
Symbolic of what? Of the nature of true freedom and the capacity for choice, specifically within a relationship built on trust. In a garden with limitless everything, the rule wasn't about holding back something necessary. It was about choice.
The choice not to do something.
Precisely. It implies that real freedom isn't just doing whatever you want. It also involves the ability to choose not to align your will with a benevolent command, even if you don't fully get the why.
So it was a test.
A test of free will, yes, of their moral agency. It was an opportunity to show trust in their creator's wisdom and goodness, even when the reason wasn't spelled out.
And that resonates today, doesn't it? The whole idea of choice.
Absolutely. That's why it's so central. Every human faces choices between immediate satisfaction and long-term good, between what seems like knowledge and established trust, between our own way and a higher way. The fact that this choice existed even in paradise, the source presents it as fundamental to being human, essential to identity, essential to relationship. Real love, real relationship, it kind of requires freedom, doesn't it? And freedom means the possibility of choosing. Well, choosing poorly.
And that single restriction, that one choice, becomes the absolute turning point. Things shift dramatically. And it wasn't through violence or force.
Oh, it was subtle.
The source says, the serpent didn't attack with force. He whispered with doubt.
Okay, let's unpack this. Why is a whisper of doubt so much more effective, so insidious, than just a direct attack, especially when trust is involved? You've hit it exactly. A whisper of doubt is insidious because it doesn't confront head-on. It corrupts from the inside out.
Yeah.
Force might make you push back, right?
Resist.
But doubt erodes the very foundation of trust. It targets the core of that perfect relationship they had.
And the specific question was?
Did God really say? That question isn't just about the words God spoke. It's a subtle attack on God's reliability, on his character.
Suggesting maybe he's not entirely truthful or holding back.
Precisely. It plants that seed of uncertainty. Maybe God isn't as good as you thought. Maybe he doesn't want you to have something desirable. It creates this internal conflict. Makes them second guess everything they knew.
That feels much more dangerous than a physical threat.
Oh, absolutely. It undermines their whole perception of reality. If you can't trust the ultimate source of truth, where does that leave you? It plays on curiosity, that desire for more knowledge or autonomy, but twists it towards mistrust. It's like psychological warfare, fracturing the inside before anything even happens on the outside.
And that subtle whisper, aimed right at their trust, it leads Eve into this internal struggle. The source says, Eve looked. That's not just a glance, is it?
No, looked implies more. Active observation, contemplation. She's engaging with the serpent's idea.
She's thinking about it.
Yes. And then the source details what she saw or perceived. The fruit was beautiful, desirable, promising wisdom. Those are three powerful lures.
Okay, break those down for us. How do they work together?
Well, first, beautiful. That's the immediate aesthetic appeal, pleasing to the eye. Humans are drawn to beauty. Sometimes it overrides caution.
Okay, surface level.
Then desirable. This implies a perceived benefit for her, something she now wanted. It's the awakening of a personal desire conflicting with the command. It wasn't just pretty, it seemed like it would satisfy something.
And the big one, wisdom.
Right, promising wisdom?
Yeah.
That's the ultimate lure, isn't it? The appeal of knowledge, enlightenment, maybe a shortcut to being more powerful, more like God himself. The idea that eating it would unlock secrets, elevate her status.
That's a universal temptation, wanting that shortcut.
It really is. The desire to know more, to have power, even if you're warned against it.
Yeah.
So these three things, beauty, desire, wisdom, they converge on this one forbidden object, making it incredibly attractive. It shows how easily we can be swayed by perceived immediate gain, especially when it promises something profound like wisdom, even if it means breaking trust.
So with those lures pulling at her, the beauty, the desire, that promise of wisdom, her internal conflict hits its peak. And the source says her action boiled down to one thing. And in that moment, she chose desire over trust.
That's the crux of it.
This isn't just about eating fruit, is it? What's the real core of the moral problem here, according to the source? What does it show about her heart's direction at that point?
You're absolutely right. It's way deeper than just eating. That phrase, she chose desire over trust, captures the fundamental shift, the reorientation of her heart.
How so?
Before this, their lives were defined by trusting their Creator. God's word was enough. His provision was total. Now, the choice isn't just eat or don't eat. It's choosing her own awakened desire for the fruit's appeal, its perceived benefit, its promise over that established relationship of trust.
So it's a shift from God-reliance to self-reliance.
Exactly. Based on her own perception of what's good, what's desirable, what's knowledgeable. It's this assertion of self-will, of autonomy, in a way that breaks the original harmony. That internal reordering of priorities, that's presented as the real rebellion. It introduces disharmony because it's rooted in a perceived lack, a desire for more than what was perfectly provided.
And Adam wasn't just watching this happen, he was right there. The source says, Adam stood with her and bit into history's first rebellion.
Key phrase, stood with her.
What does that imply about his role? Was he just passively going along, or was it a conscious choice to join in? And what about this idea of a shared rebellion? How does that connect to bigger ideas about collective choices?
That phrase, stood with her, is really significant. It suggests he wasn't just passively accepting it, it implies active presence, complicity, a conscious decision to join her.
He wasn't tricked separately.
The source doesn't present it that way. It suggests he was there, witnessed her choice, and then made his own choice to participate. It was a deliberate act, a solidarity in the rebellion.
Okay, so a shared rebellion.
Yes, and that's critical because it immediately makes the consequences collective. It's not just Eve's mistake. It becomes the foundational act of humanity's progenitors. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it powerfully shows how individual choices, especially by key figures or within close relationships, ripple outwards, affecting not just them, but their whole lineage, their community in this case, all humanity. This shared choice fundamentally reshaped reality for everyone who followed.
So the brokenness wasn't isolated, it was systemic from the start.
Exactly. Flowing from that shared turning away from the original design, it's the origin point of a fundamental change in the human condition, setting a whole new course.
And the fallout from that shared choice, the source describes it as instant, visceral. It says, instantly innocence died.
Wow. Just like that.
What does that really mean, the death of innocence? It sounds like more than just doing something wrong. It's a fundamental change in who they were, how they saw things.
It is. It signifies this profound, irreversible shift in their very being. Innocence dying isn't just about stopping a certain behavior. It's the end of that state of transparency, purity, unself-consciousness they had.
Where they were just open.
Completely. At peace with themselves, each other, God. No need to hide anything, nothing to be ashamed of. But once innocence died, boom, a new way of seeing kicks in.
Which leads to the next part. They saw their nakedness and hid from the one who made them. That seeing isn't just physical sight, is it? It sounds like shame.
Exactly. It's the dawn of this new shame-filled self-awareness. It's a massive psychological and spiritual transformation. Before, being naked was natural, unproblematic, maybe even symbolic of their openness.
But now
Now it becomes a source of vulnerability, embarrassment, feeling flawed, and that new awareness leads straight to that gut reaction.
hiding from God.
Yes. That act of hiding is the first sign of shame, fear, a broken relationship. It signifies this deep rupture, wanting to conceal themselves from the very presence they used to walk with freely. It's a painful awareness of their new, fallen state, a distorted view of themselves and God, the end of communion, the beginning of separation.
And with that loss of innocence, this new emotion floods in, something they'd never known. The source puts it simply, shame entered the human heart.
A turning point for all human experience.
Talk about that. What is the nature of shame as it's described here? How did it immediately change their behavior? And it's fascinating how the source suggests this initial entry of shame still echoes today, right?
Absolutely. The entry of shame is huge. As the source presents it, it's not just feeling awkward. It's this deep internal judgment of your own worth, your acceptability, a painful awareness of being flawed, inadequate.
And that makes you want to.
Hide, conceal, withdraw. Just like they did physically covering themselves, hiding in the trees, but also emotionally. It's a universal reaction. Make yourself invisible, avoid judgment.
It creates distance.
Huge distance. Separation from others, because shame makes you feel isolated, prevents real connection. And crucially, separation from God. It replaces that old transparency with defensiveness, feeling unworthy.
You see that today.
Oh, definitely. What's fascinating is how this ancient story nails it. Think about how often we hide our true selves, our mistakes, our vulnerabilities, because we're afraid of judgment or rejection. How shame fuels defensiveness, or that nagging feeling of not being good enough. This narrative gives us a framework for understanding that fundamental human emotion and its impact on everything: relationships, self-image, spirituality. It wasn't just something that happened back then. It's the start of a dynamic that still shapes us profoundly.
And the ultimate consequence of that shame, of that choice, the source states it starkly, and paradise was lost.
The end of an era.
This isn't just about losing a nice garden, is it? It feels much bigger, losing a whole state of being, perfect relationships, that open communion. So what does this really tell us about the impact of fundamental choices? How they can change the very fabric of reality?
You're right, paradise was lost is packed with meaning. It's way beyond just being kicked out of a place. It's the catastrophic loss of a whole state of being that was perfect on every level.
Like what levels?
For first, the perfect environment. No more effortless provision, no more pristine harmony. Now, struggle, scarcity, decay into the picture. Second, perfect relationships ruptured. Critically, that open communion with God. Broken, shame and fear are now barriers, but also the unity between Adam and Eve themselves. Fractured. Blame, self-preservation creep in.
Wow.
And finally, that perfect inner peace, that transparency, gone, replaced by inner conflict, self-consciousness. So what does it all mean? It's this profound statement about the irreversible consequences of core moral choices.
One choice changing everything.
Exactly. Introducing separation, struggle, toil, pain, and ultimately mortality into the human story. It's where the ideal shatters and the often harsh reality begins. Humanity starts a new, difficult journey, forever marked by echoes of what was lost. It reshapes their future and ours.
But even in that chaos, that shame, that loss, the source highlights this really unexpected response from God. It says, but God's voice still called, "Where are you?"
That's a crucial moment.
It is, because it's not immediate anger or punishment, it's a question.
Right.
And the source explains why he asked. Not because he didn't know, but because he wanted them to know they were still wanted.
That line is powerful.
It totally shifts things, doesn't it? From pure judgment to continued care, pursuit. So even right after the rebellion, what does it tell us about the divine character here, that the first move is a call, an invitation, not just condemnation?
That moment, God calling, "Where are you?"
Yeah.
is maybe one of the most revealing and unexpected turns. It fundamentally shapes the source's view of God's character. It's crucial because it shows a nature beyond just immediate payback.
He knew where they were, obviously.
Of course, the source makes that clear. It wasn't a question of location. It was a question, as you said, born of invitation, of yearning. He wanted them to know they were still wanted. That's stunning, right after they directly disobeyed.
Yeah, it really is.
It suggests this fundamental desire for relationship, even when humans break it. If we connect this to the bigger picture, this first response immediately brings in the idea of grace, that unearned favor.
So even then,
It suggests that even when humanity chooses separation, the divine first step is pursuit, restoration, not just walking away. The relationship, though broken by them, is still valued by the Creator. This perspective colors the whole rest of the source's story, setting up redemption. It points to this deep, enduring care that exists alongside, maybe even precedes, the consequences, offering that first flicker of hope that it's not just a story of falling, but maybe one of getting back up.
that divine call was compassionate, but it didn't just erase the consequences, did it? The source is clear. Judgment came, and it lists these specific life-altering results: pain, sweat, death.
The new reality sets in.
Okay, let's unpack this for our listener. These don't sound like random punishments, right? How does the source connect them directly to the brokenness they introduced? How did they basically rewrite the rules for human existence?
You're exactly right. They're presented as direct, almost organic consequences, not arbitrary penalties. They represent the new operating system, if you will, for human life outside that perfect harmony. They flow directly from the brokenness,
So pain.
specifically linked in the text to childbirth, transforming what might have been easy or joyful into something marked by agony. It highlights how natural processes got disrupted, how suffering entered even the creation of new life. A shift from ease to difficulty.
Okay. And sweat.
That's tied to labor, to work. Turning what might have been satisfying co-creation with the garden into hard toil, struggling against resistance from the earth itself. Before, provision was easy. Now survival takes constant effort. It's not just physical work, it's frustration, the feeling of battling against things to get by.
Work becomes a burden.
In many ways, yes. And then the big one, death.
Yeah.
Mortality enters the picture. In a world perhaps designed for unending life, this is the ultimate consequence. Decay, loss, grief, that final endpoint. It introduces finality.
So the judgment isn't just punishment, it's reality recalibrated.
Exactly. A fundamental reordering of the human condition, creating this new, challenging existence where struggle, suffering, and ending are part of the fabric of life. These consequences show how that one foundational rebellion rippled out to affect everything.
But here's the truly remarkable part, the source highlights. But in the same breath, God gave the first prophecy of salvation.
Right there, amidst the consequences.
Yeah, it's this glimmer of hope. The prophecy is, the seed of the woman will crush the serpent's head. That feels incredibly significant, maybe unexpected. Even while judgment is happening, there's this promise looking forward, predicting victory over the source of the problem. What does that reveal about the divine figure in this narrative? And why is it so huge that this is the very first prophecy after the fall?
It is huge. And the source stresses that timing in the same breath, it's not an afterthought. It immediately weaves a long-term plan, a narrative of eventual victory, right into the immediate story of loss.
Okay. And the prophecy itself, seed of the woman will crush the serpent's head.
It's packed with meaning in the source's view. It's this promise of ultimate victory over the very entity, the very deception that led to the fall. It introduces this ongoing conflict, but crucially, with a predicted positive outcome.
So what does that say about God's nature here?
It suggests a proactive commitment to restoration, not just reaction or punishment. That from the moment of the fall, a plan for redemption was already being initiated. even before they fully felt the consequences.
And the fact that it's the first prophecy.
That's incredibly significant.
Yeah.
It means the divine response wasn't just about dealing with a mess, it simultaneously included this strategic, benevolent plan for rescue. It lays down this foundational thread of hope that runs through everything that follows, according to the source. It basically says, yes, paradise is lost, but the story isn't over. There's a bigger plan at work. It offers a glimpse of ultimate purpose even in that moment of despair.
It's kind of mind-blowing, really, that even in that moment of total failure, the source emphasizes, even in the fall, grace had already begun.
A core concept.
It highlights this idea that even at humanity's absolute lowest, this benevolent force is already working, planning restoration, not just reacting. Here's where it gets really interesting for you listening. It's not just a story of punishment, is it? It's got this thread of hope, this rescue plan, woven in almost immediately, before they even leave the garden, maybe. What does that tell us about the whole story arc?
That idea of grace beginning even in the fall really reshapes how you read the whole thing, according to the source. It pushes back against seeing it as purely about punishment. It suggests the divine response is both dealing with the consequences and initiating a proactive, redemptive plan.
The hope is there from the start.
Woven in immediately. That promise of future victory comes right alongside the consequences. And is presented as a divine initiative, not something humans earn. It reveals this deep commitment to restoration, even when the relationship is broken by us.
So the bigger story is?
Fundamentally, it's presented as a story of persistent pursuit, unwavering love, even when faced with rebellion. From the very beginning, the intention wasn't abandonment, but rescue. This immediate grace sets the tone for everything that follows, suggesting the divine actively works to overcome the consequences humans introduced. It connects the past loss to a future hope, turning paradise lost into the start of a journey towards redemption. Hope is part of the fabric, even in the brokenness.
So if we look at Adam and Eve's story this way, the source reframes the whole message. It says the story isn't just about failure, it's about a God who runs toward the fall.
That's a powerful image.
It really is. It shifts the focus from our mistakes to this divine act of seeking, a pursuit, not just waiting for us to get our act together. And this is shown right away, the source says, by a specific act of compassion. The same God who covered their shame with garments of skin.
A very tangible act.
What does that signify? Covering their nakedness, their new shame with animal skins. What does that tell us about compassion and provision right there in that moment of distress?
That reframe runs toward the fallen is central. It emphasizes active, passionate pursuit, not passive waiting. It speaks to this unconditional care that goes beyond the broken trust.
In the garments.
That act, covering their shame with animal skins, is this immediate, practical demonstration of compassion. Remember, they tried to cover themselves inadequately with fig leaves first.
Right. Flimsy.
And God provides something better, more permanent. It signifies a few things. One, it acknowledges their new reality of shame, validates their distress. Two, it's practical provision for their immediate need they aren't left exposed. Three, and this is key in the source's interpretation, using animal skins implies sacrifice. A life had to be given to provide that covering. Within the broader story the source tells, this sets a pattern. Covering human brokenness involves sacrifice. So it's not just about clothes, it's a foundational act of compassion, addressing the visible sign of their brokenness, and maybe hinting at a deeper spiritual covering yet to come. It's a tangible piece of that rescue plan already in motion.
And that immediate covering leads to this direct parallel the source makes for us today. It draws a line from those animal skins covering Adam and Eve's shame to a spiritual covering offered now, which it describes using the phrase, covers ours with the blood of his son. That's obviously symbolic language for our listener. What is the source getting at there? How does it extend that historical act into something spiritual for people now?
Right, this is where the source connects the ancient story directly to its contemporary relevance, often within its specific theological framework. That phrase, covers ours with the blood of his son, it's definitely a profound theological metaphor, not literal.
Okay.
It builds directly on the Eden imagery of covering, but elevates it to the spiritual realm. Moving from physical clothes to a deeper, comprehensive solution for that pervasive human problem of shame and separation that started back then.
A solution like?
Within this source's view, the blood of his son represents the ultimate sacrifice, the ultimate atonement. The final answer to sin, shame, separation. It implies a divine provision so complete that it fully covers, cleanses, forgives our brokenness, guilt, that deep shame, restoring the possibility of being reconciled with God. It's seen as the culmination of that rescue plan hinted at from the start.
So the idea is the original problem has a final answer provided.
Exactly. The source suggests the brokenness from Eden wasn't the end of the story, but that a divine sacrificial remedy was always the plan. It offers a way today to move from that internal state of shame and brokenness back towards peace, forgiveness, connection with God, just as the original garments offered a physical covering and care. It shows this continuity of divine action, addressing the same core human need for restoration across time.
That really brings it full circle. So ultimately, the message our source keeps coming back to, and this is for you listening, is your Eden may be gone, but your redemption is already written. That's the core takeaway. It offers the sense of comfort, maybe resolution. Even though perfection is lost, the consequences are real, there's a path back available. So this raises a really important question for you personally. How does understanding this ancient story, perfection lost, choice, consequence, but also immediate hope, how does that give you a framework for thinking about your own experiences, your losses, regrets, but also the possibility of new beginnings?
That concluding thought, your Eden may be gone, but your redemption is already written. It really captures the story's enduring power. It speaks directly to that human longing for a way back from mistakes, from feeling broken, from the weight of shame we all carry in different ways.
It validates this.
I think so. Understand this narrative provides a framework because it names a universal experience. We all have our lost Edens, right? Moments where innocence feels gone, choices lead to regret, relationships break, we feel ashamed. The story says, yeah, that's part of the human condition.
But it doesn't stop there.
Exactly. By also presenting redemption already written, it offers this powerful counter-narrative to just despairing. It suggests that even when we're in the valley, feeling far from our ideal selves, there's still this active, benevolent process working towards restoration.
So new beginnings are always possible.
That's the implication. Finding peace, reconnecting with others, ourselves, maybe a higher purpose isn't something we have to invent out of thin air. The source suggests it's part of the bigger design, a thread of hope woven through time, always offering a path back. This old story encourages us to look for those threads in our own lives, to believe that even when things are broken, wholeness isn't impossible.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we've really covered a lot of ground. From Eden's perfection, that harmony, that connection, through the choice that brought in shame, loss, separation. But then, right in the middle of the consequences, discovering that surprising, immediate promise of hope, that thread of grace appearing right away, we've unpacked these universal things, choice, consequence, and this persistent, amazing idea of restoration.
And if the core message, especially looking through our source's lens, is about God calling out to those hiding, where are you, echoing down through time. Well, what does it mean for us today to actually step out of whatever shadows we find ourselves in?
Shadows of shame, regret.
Yeah, or fear, isolation, whatever holds us back. What does it mean to respond to that call for connection, for restoration? The source leaves us with this clear invitation, really timeless. Come out of the shadows. He's still calling. And he's still making a way back to himself.
It feels like a persistent call.
It does. Not just an ancient whisper, but an ongoing invitation. It's worth thinking about how these ancient stories keep offering such deep insights into who we are, our past, but also maybe potential ways forward. Paths to finding peace, purpose, connection right now.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into Adam and Eve. We really hope you'll take some time to reflect on these ideas, beginnings, choices, consequences, and that enduring hope, and see how they might resonate with your own understanding of life. Until next time.